Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Ross Johnston. The Tennessee Titans take their second trip out west this weekend as they face the 1-4 Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday, with kickoff set for 3:05 Central. You can listen to Titans Radio's coverage of the game here on The Zone with the Lee Company countdown to kickoff starting at noon on Sunday, followed by Titans Radio pregame coverage at 2 o'clock. The Vols are back tomorrow as they face the 2-3 Arkansas Razorbacks in Knoxville, with kickoff set for 3:15 Central. You can listen to Vol Network's coverage of the game right here on The Zone, with pregame beginning around 12:30. In Titans injury news, Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports reports that there will be 5 players out for Sunday's game: offensive lineman Blake Hance, corner Marcus Harris, edge rusher Arden Key, receiver Bryce Oliver, and kicker Joey Sly. Also worth noting, offensive tackle J.C. Latham will be questionable for the game on Sunday, so there are no expectations on how much he will play, but he should be active in Las Vegas. One last important note for the Titans is that defensive tackle T'Vondre Sweat is hitting his final required game on injured reserve this weekend and is expected to be back next week when the Titans host the New England Patriots in Nashville. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news I want you in your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, and broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. We got a loaded show. We'll have Ryan Shumpert on at 2 p.m. to do a little preview of Tennessee Volunteers versus the Arkansas Razorbacks game this weekend. And then we'll also have, of course, Jordan DeJaney, 1:20 p.m. Of course, he's from CBS Sports. We'll go around the NFL with him. Lots to get to today. We got 2 football games this weekend in Tennessee. And last night, though, Eagles versus Giants. It sparks a lot of debate among the Titans community about online about, well, why didn't the Titans draft Cam Skattebo instead of drafting Chimere DK? Why didn't the Titans trade back and get Jackson Dart and all this kind of stuff? A lot of people up in arms that their team, and rightfully so, has not looked as good as the New York Giants so far in a few games with Jackson Dart. It just feels like a little bit like revisionist history because I don't remember a lot of people pounding the table for Cam Skattebo when he was still on the board. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I missed it, but it just seems like a little bit of revisionist history. What say you guys?
I don't remember any Scattaboo talk.
Yeah. Is it Scattaboo or Skattebo?
Boo.
Are you sure?
Scattaboo,
yes.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I promise I'm being real about this, I did kind of want the Titans to have the Giants draft with the first 2 picks at least and take Carter and Dart. I'm not mad about Cam at all, but I was kind of feeling that for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, you wanted to trade the pick just like I did, right?
Yeah. I didn't want to trade the pick. I just wanted to take Carter and Carter 1 and take Dart.
And trade back up for Dart?
I didn't know he was going to go in the first round.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I know you wanted to trade back. Does last night? I mean, I don't know if you wanted to trade back though with Jackson Dart in mind.
Oh no, I don't think like that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to talk about the people who do, but
right.
I don't do that because what good does that do me?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I would have done. Just think about it in life. Oh, I wish I would have done. You can say that freaking stuff every day. So no, I don't do that. So I really don't
that's the thing.
Don't want to address that. I mean, we're talking about one game and a sample size of some players that you like during the draft. I like those players too, by the way.
Right.
Dart, as well as I said, Dart was a better athlete than Ward. A lot of people laughed at me. And now we see that he is, for the NFL, he's a better athlete. Doesn't mean he was a better quarterback. He's a better athlete. And Scattaboo, we'll see how well he's doing in 4 years. We'll see if that style, when his contract runs out, he's going to still try to be physical like that. That's why the physicality in the game for the running backs that are super physical or the big back, power backs, that's why it's so amazing what Derrick Henry is doing. Typically, they phase out quicker than most because of the hits they're taking. Because they're also giving hits, but that also compounds to their hits.
You saw Jackson Dart doing some Will Levis stuff out there, diving, and
Oh, yeah, he still got that college feel for him. In the pros, you try not to take as many hits. But Scatterbo, I loved him. His desire and passion to play just the game in general, but even at running back is infectious, and it was pretty awesome to watch him. I think I watched that Arizona State, and I didn't know much about him until he played in that playoff game, saw highlights and everything else. I think I watched another game of theirs at the time, but watching him live and just to see he was giving Heisman poses, he was trying to put his name out there, and, man, when you saw him run, you was like, ooh, I wonder how this will parlay in the National Football League. And I was only questioning not his desire, not how hard he runs. I was questioning how fast actually is he?
Yeah.
See, how fast is he? Because at some point, you're going to have to make people miss. You can't keep taking hits like that being a physical back. Now, you can his younger years, but as you go along there, you see some guys fade, and you wonder, like, what happened? Well, he got tired of getting hit upside his head.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see how long he can continue to play like that. But yeah,
I also
really
saw videos of Cam in college where like they're all walking out of the tunnel or something, and like they're all walking by, and Cam is like hitting his head up. Cam Scatterbo is hitting his head.
Don't say Cam because people.
But Scatterbo is like pounding his helmet up against the wall, and I'm like, what? This guy is insane. This guy's crazy.
It was John Henderson getting slapped, he getting, So hey, man, both of those guys happy that they won, and seems like they're turning the corner, but nah, you don't. Yeah, it is what it is. Like, dang, I like that guy. And that's probably about it.
I think Christopher Sissel, I hope I said his last name right, in the F&M Bank chat, Twitch, or YouTube, Facebook Live, says, not everything that shines is the treasure you think.
I think it is, right. Yeah. Because that should just be one highlight reel or game. Dart played great the first game, second game not so good, this game better.
Remember Peyton Hillis back in the day?
Oh, Peyton, that's who Scatterbo reminds me of a little bit.
He had that big blow-up season. He was on the cover of Madden.
1,000-yard season.
Then you never really heard from him ever again.
Yeah,
and that happens all the time in the NFL.
His style was very similar to his. Actually, maybe faster than Scatterbo. Maybe not as quite physical as Scatterbo. Scatterbo was pretty physical. I saw Dory Jackson try to make sure he wasn't getting part of that. What would you?
Isn't that what you're paid to do?
No. Not him.
He knocked
that was mandatory.
He knocked Zach Bond into the dirt.
Yeah, and then he actually did. People could make fun of him, but he actually did try to put his shoulder in him. I wish he would have tried to wrap up and things of that nature on the goal line. But at the end of the day, here's what the corners used to say to me: if the running back gets to me, that means y'all messed up. I'm not out here to be tackling these big old dudes. Yeah. Now, if you want to come out here and guard these awesome athletes, let's switch.
I guess it's like someone said last night that there's a guy that followed that covers the San Francisco 49ers on the radio over there in San Francisco. His name's Kyle Madsen. He said last night that Cam Scatterbo is the Danny Woodhead of Mike Allstott's.
Oh,
I thought that was perfect.
Oh, my gosh, man. Mike Allstott, man, I am so glad I was not in a division. I played him twice a year.
He's probably the reason
I only got to play him one time. I was, oh, my gosh.
He's probably one of the reasons why all those corners said that to you guys.
Oh, yeah? I remember to a T from rookie year all the way to Samari Rowe. Yeah. Now, the guys in Philly did not say that. But Samari Rowe, and even when I was introduced to a guy corner named Chris Dishman.
Yeah.
He said he was a vet, too. He played 15 years. He was like, hey, man, if the running back gets around over here, man, that means y'all mess up. I am not paid enough to be tackling a big old running back coming around this corner. I said, but just dive at his, knees or something. He said, no, I can hit my head. I was like, what do you mean, man? Do all you can. He said, hey, man, I'll dive at the turf. That's about it. And I want to see how close I can get my eyeballs to that turf. He said, I am not tackling nobody. Yeah. He said, now, I will tackle the ball as long as he hadn't got a good running start where he can just run me over. So I'll tackle the ball, though. I was like, wow.
I would also like to say this just real quick because I saw some comments after I brought up Abdul Carter, people saying, oh, Abdul Carter, he's not playing good because he only has half a sack. Going into week 6, Abdul Carter had 22 pressures. You know what the next highest rookie had? 11. So more than double the second highest rookie in pressures.
I'd take Abdul Carter all day right now.
This is a good one.
Oh, how many reps did your man Femi get? Your favorite player, Femi? How many reps did he get last game? Because I sure felt like he wasn't out there. If he was, he didn't impact nothing.
Well, the second part's correct. I mean,
I was like, oh, did they not play him a lot this game?
So it was his second lowest rate of the year. So it was like just barely over 60% because they're still not giving Jihad Ward a bunch of it. Like he's still.
Is that why I felt like I didn't see him as much because Ward was
Ward was more impactful. Femi was out there, but Femi's not impactful. I mean, like
I wasn't looking for.
There is a clip that's circulating, Blaine, of someone saying, "Well, look at Femi set the edge," and of course he's way out wide. I mean, probably even wider than wide 9. Is there like a wide 11? Way out too wide. But he's so far out wide. And
wide 11.
Yeah, I mean he's. And the two tight ends just immediately go and engage him because they're running that side. They made it easy for the running back to go into the hole they wanted to go because he was so far lined up wide with his hand in the dirt. And everybody's like, look at Femi set the edge. I'm like, nah, man. I mean, like.
You got to show me this play.
I'll have to show you the clip.
I was rushing through because I was coming back from out, so I wasn't watching individual play. I was more watching just kind of the game because I didn't even see the game.
Luckily, the line Cedric Gray, who's one of the best run defenders at inside linebacker right now in the whole entire league, I think he's the one that triggered the play and made the play. It wasn't because of Femi. I mean, it's because of an individual effort. I mean, because Femi is like 2 or 3 defensive linemen, and then Femi's way out wide with his hands in dirt. I'm like, man, that's real wide. Like, and here's the thing, he's just not ready, and I think they're finally kind of realizing that he's not ready because Jihad Ward, is making plays. He was making plays before then. I even said, you got to get him more involved because
you did.
I can't believe that of all people, your last signing at the edge position is the best player, and he's the best player in the run game, best player in press and pressure rate and all that kind of stuff for an edge, that he needs to play more. Development and reps be damned. You are still trying to win games. He's got to play more. Now, if the season's over, I'm just going to say play Femi, I guess. I mean, at that point, I'm not going to really put it up in arms or anything. But Jihad Ward, he's been your best player. Been better than Arden Key, been better than Draymond Jones, been better than Jalen Harrell, been better than Femi Oladejo at everything. And now, with Arden Key injured, you hope that Jihad Ward can just take it all. Like, take everything and just be the other starter opposite of Draymond Jones, because I think Draymond Jones is going to be the starter.
Oh, you think he's starting this game?
Draymond, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, because Key's injured.
He's out.
And I think they're going to probably start those two guys.
Key's out.
Yeah.
Or he just didn't practice.
Yeah.
I know he didn't practice.
He is out.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get to the out list coming up here shortly, but I think with Ashton Jeanty out there, I think you'd rather have Draymond Jones and Jihad Ward as much as possible, with Femi Oladejo rotating in and probably Jalen Harrell as well. At some point, we'll get a few snaps because they're not going to call up an edge rusher. They're going to run with those 4 guys.
So how much do you think that stunts Femi's growth?
I mean, not enough. I mean, like, you still can find – I think what you got to do is he needs to be in the 40% range of playtime and let Jihad Ward be up in the 60s. Like, I think you just need to flop it. He's obviously still needs to play because, I mean, just that's just how the NFL works, right?
You can't develop it if you're not playing.
Right. Yeah. And so I just think that he needs to be playing way less right now.
Yeah. Flip him 60-40. He can still learn a lot, and especially from watching Ward in film of how to actually play certain things.
Yeah.
So remember, I thought they were going to rotate him, but then it got to a point where it's like they're going to have to start him.
Yeah.
And so maybe they're kind of thinking that back now.
Yeah. To me, it's like everybody knew he was going to be a project. Femi Oladejo. Now, some people thought that he would get there quicker. I said, I don't know. I think he's developing a little bit slower than what everybody expected, even his detractors. But the only way to learn and for him to get comfortable at a position that he has not played a lot in college is to just play. But you got to make sure that you're doing it at, I don't think there's any right time because he's not been very good. But you got to be smart with the snaps and be smart with the reps.
I can't say he's been horrible, not good. I mean, he's been okay.
I'll let you say that.
I'll say he's been okay. I mean, he's not been horrific.
I don't know. This last game.
Was he horrific?
I
No.
mean, watch him spy Kyler Murray
I was
on
gonna
one
say.
play. And then
That's the time Murray ran away from him?
Oh man, he went.
I saw it one time. It almost like he
I think
gave
there's
up.
twice,
Well,
right?
well, he
No
wasn't
more
gonna get him,
Femi
though.
spies, please.
Yeah, no, Femi Oladejo does not need to be spying mobile quarterbacks. I know that he's super athletic.
Wait. I don't. So they call a spy with Femi being the spy.
So they almost like stunted into a spy. Like he lined
Oh, he
up
stunted
on
into
the
it. It was
edge,
not a
and then he
called
stunted
spy.
over the middle and dropped into a spy. Kyler out leveraged him so fast and got to the edge. We had no edge containment as well. Just beat him easily to the end zone.
So what you guys are referring to as a spy is he just dropped as a DN, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, but he dropped into a spy, and like on a spy,
Yeah.
you're supposed to just mirror the quarterback essentially. Like he
Was
got
he on
out-
the outside?
No, he was on the inside. He was in
was?
the center of the field.
Oh,
He
dropped.
dropped into the
the
center
middle?
of the field to spy. I mean, you can tell that he's trying to spy, but he has no clue what he's doing.
Well,
and there's another time where he drops and he like runs with Cody Barton's hip, covering another guy, and then that springs Kyler Murray for another big play. Like even when he's out in coverage, he's not doing the right assignments. And I mean, again, really, Femi Oladejo, he needs to be in obvious pass rush situations, and if you want to utilize him best, the development, whatever. But to get the best out of Femi, you just need to send him. Just send him pass rush because right now he can't do the other stuff so far.
Well, he did what he's supposed to do. I mean, Kyler Murray is pretty fast now.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that guy's like a 4.4, right? I mean, so he's pretty fast. I would say
It was a bad play, though.
No, I remember the
Yeah.
one that he got run. I was like, oh my! And then it was one of those times I could recall myself
Yeah.
that I'm chasing Vic. And I'm like, I'm not gonna get him. I mean, like, what am I doing?
And I still see
just
him-
slowed down.
Yeah. I
It's
still
like,
see him
I'm not gonna get
sometimes
you.
kind of like give up and try to go for the holding call instead of playing through on the holding call. And he's done that, just a handful of times throughout the first 5 weeks. But you kind of seen him just
What
go
did he
through.
run at the combine?
Femi, I'll have to look that up. I know
Did he
I have.
run a 4.7?
Let's see. Femi
I don't
Oladejo
see that out there. If he
ran a.
man,
You know what? I'm kind of wondering if he even
he didn't run.
ran. He didn't run the 40. He just did the explosives. He did a vertical of 36 and a half and a broad jump of 120.
Oh,
So, I
Blake-
mean, he's got explosiveness.
Blaine, you know who I'd love to see on a spy when we play a mobile quarterback? I know it would have probably been too much last week because they're working him back in, but is Kevin Winston.
Winston,
I think he'd be a great person to use in that situation.
absolutely.
I think James Williams, too, in that kind of a situation would be really good at that.
But he didn't get any snaps on defense.
I don't think so. If he did, it was very marginal. All right, coming up next, we'll go with Jordan DeJaney, but we'll also go to Brian and Jimmy before we get to Jordan. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. First, before we get to Jordan DeJanie, we're going to go to Brian and Jimmy because they've been waiting. Brian, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys, big fans of the show. Blaine, used to love watching you play, man.
It was fun times, man. Yeah, for sure.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, y'all there?
Yeah, we're here.
Yes, sir.
Oh, hey, big fans of the show, guys. And Blaine, used to love watching you play, man.
Thanks,
All right.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we got you still.
Hey, I had thoughts on what y'all started off the show with today. Yeah,
Dart.
they have a more seasoned coaching staff, so they may have, we have pieces in place, but we still have a new coaching staff that seems to be overmatched almost every game that they're out there, whether it's getting plays in, getting people lined up right, just making the decisions. Brian Daboll's got a more seasoned coaching staff, and I think they're more, they're better equipped to use new players and new pieces and rookies better than our coaching staff is. And I'll hang up and listen to what y'all have to say about that.
Well, that actually, Brian, ties into a discussion we're going to have later in the show, talking about the coaching staff of the Raiders and the coaching staff of the Titans. But I do think that's a good point. We know that Brian Daboll and his entire staff been around the block for a while. So, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, no doubt. I completely agree. Great assessment.
Let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing good.
Great. It's Friday.
Good. Hey, I saw where. Yeah, exactly. I saw where we signed the kicker to the practice squad. Now I'm seeing that Sly's out. I missed him getting hurt. When did he get hurt? And what did he hurt?
Jimmy, it sounds like to me that they said he got hurt before the missed extra point. And I think Bones Fossil earlier in the week said he got hurt during the missed extra point because he hit the grass. I don't know, but it was around the extra point time at some point. It seems to be a calf injury of some sort. Don't know how long it's going to keep them out, but Matthew Wright, who they signed to the practice squad, is going to be active because Joey Sly, among a few other people, have been ruled out. So it'll be Matthew Wright, the kicker, will be going this weekend.
Didn't he play here before?
He did. He went 4-4,
Last
I think,
year?
as a Tennessee Titans.
Or was it the year before?
It's either last year or 2 years ago. We looked that up at some point. I can't remember what we decided on.
Yeah, he went 4-4. Well, yeah. We'll get to see a new kicker, and guess what? If he does well for a period of time.
Oh, it was last year. 2 games last year. So there you go. There you go. All right, let's go around the NFL with Jordan DeJanie. And Jordan, let's start off with last night's game. What is actually real about this game? Is it the Giants' offense putting up 30-plus points, or is it that the Eagles maybe are just this bad?
What's going on, friends? Yeah, I wish that we could talk about the Giants being the reason, the main headline to come away from that shocking victory. I think Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo are the new dynamic duo that this fan base deserved up in New York. But I think it said probably more about the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's not forget that the New York Giants just lost to the previously winless New Orleans Saints just 5 or 6 days ago. So you have to take everything into consideration when it comes to projecting what Jackson Dart is going to be moving forward. But at the same time, he is off to a pretty hot start in his career. When it comes to the Eagles, defensively in week 1 against Dallas, I think you could take away that they had a serious weakness at the cornerback 2 spot opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. Now, when Quinyon Mitchell goes down with an injury, then it's scary hours for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think Jackson Dart definitely took advantage last night. Offensively, there's no getting around the fact that they are suffering through an identity crisis right now, which is kind of laughable because I've never been an offensive coordinator, but I would imagine I can get into a rhythm with Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert behind one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. So I think last night was more about the collapse and the confusion of the Philadelphia Eagles, although the New York Giants are definitely an enticing and intriguing team moving forward.
Okay, Chimere Dike leads the NFL in all-purpose yards right now. Is he making a case that possibly he could be a rookie all-pro returner specialist for this? And obviously, because Jaquan Jackson last year was leading Pro Bowl votes for forever, obviously he should at least be able to get to the Pro Bowl, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, if I'm playing devil's advocate against you for 1 second, I would say, well, the Titans have been returning a lot of kicks, right? I think Chimere Dike definitely leads the NFL in returns as well. But that's not to take away from what he's accomplished thus far. He's been absolutely incredible. I think he has the most all-purpose yards through 5 career games since Danny Amendola back in 2009. And he's been great. I mean, what really stands out about him to me is his vision. Like, he possesses the necessary speed, but it's very evident that Dike possesses this extra level of vision that is going to be fun to utilize on offense as well. So I wrote an article on him, kind of profiling him for our national audience, because Chimere Dike is not a player that the rest of the NFL world is talking about by any means. But to your point, they absolutely should be.
You can read that article over on CBSSports.com, and we're going around the NFL with Jordan DeJaney.
Well, Jordan, you talked about Dart. I guess I wanted to get your thoughts on how Dart and the Giants, Dillon Gabriel with the Browns, and let's just throw in the Titans, all at different points of where their teams are at, kind of how they handled their first-year quarterbacks and what's good and bad about each philosophy and how they implemented their quarterbacks.
Yeah, good question. And we could probably spend 30 minutes on this, but to give you the spark notes, with Dillon Gabriel, I think that the Browns took an approach similar to what Kyle Shanahan did with Mac Jones against the Los Angeles Rams. Dillon Gabriel's strong suit is him as a processor, and it's all about getting the ball out quickly and operating within the confines of the offense. And he was okay against the Minnesota Vikings. It wasn't anything spectacular despite the 2 red zone touchdowns, but at the same time, he did not make any tragic mistakes, which is what Kevin Stefanski wanted for him in his first career start. So it's about operating within the confines of the offense. For Jackson Dart, it's been a little bit of the opposite. He's not getting the ball out as quickly as he probably should be. And I think the headliner for him is that he's been able to make plays with his legs. That has been the biggest difference from Russell Wilson to Jackson Dart. In fact, Jackson Dart is actually just the 3rd quarterback since 1950 to have 50 rushing yards in each of his first 3 career starts. The other 2 quarterbacks were Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. So Jackson Dart is absolutely making an impact with his legs. It'll be interesting to see how he fares kind of when the film comes in on him, but I was very encouraged with what he accomplished as a passer, a thrower of the football against the Eagles last night. When it comes to Cameron Ward, it's kind of a mixed bag. In fact, I wish that Brian Callahan would have more of an offensive system that was predicated around getting the ball out quickly and running maybe some up-tempo offense, which I'm sure you guys have spent a lot of time on this past week. Go back and watch what Jaden Daniels did in his first season with Washington. It was a NASCAR up-tempo offense, Cliff Kingsbury, quick read, 1 step and out. And that kept defenses on their toes, and that's a big reason why Jaden Daniels was able to have success. So, following Tennessee's first victory against the Arizona Cardinals, we all should be on the lookout to see, how does this Titans offense change? What does it look like when Cameron Ward is playing with some confidence? How is the play calling going to be differently? Or do we have more targets going to the running backs and tight ends? So I think that Cameron Ward's identity, much like every rookie quarterback, is still being defined.
No doubt about it. Great stuff there. We're going with Jordan DeJaney, NFL writer for CBS Sports. And on that note, what did you think about the Arizona game to move forward, at least to this week's game in Vegas, but the fine by the organization of Arizona's head coach?
Yeah, you can't angrily put your hands on players. I think that's been established by NFL rule, and the club was able to fine Jonathan Gannon $100,000. I wish that we saw a different angle of the interaction. It looked like he certainly made contact with him, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there saying that it's a bit weak. We haven't seen this since Bruce Arians with the Buccaneers several years ago in terms of a coach being fined for putting hands on players. But, I mean, you can absolutely understand Jonathan Gannon's frustration. It was a collapse of epic proportions. What I wrote for CBSSports.com was that the football gods looked favorable on the Titans multiple times this past Sunday. But that's not to take anything away from what Tennessee accomplished, because while the Cardinals opened the door for a comeback victory, it's still upon you to walk through that door. And that's exactly what Cam Ward and the offense did with that game-winning drive.
Well, speaking of somebody who was walking probably somewhere where they shouldn't have been walking, Mark Sanchez, can you kind of give us an overview for all the listeners where we're at? Because I'm a little confused on how this happened. I don't know if you have more details you're doing all the research and covering the NFL. Kind of give us a backdrop on the Mark Sanchez situation.
Yeah, so the news dropped, I think it was this past Saturday, that Mark Sanchez was stabbed in downtown Indianapolis. And this was kind of a good lesson for journalists because people assumed that Mark Sanchez was the victim of a robbery, and that just simply was not true. It turns out that, according to reports, he was the aggressor with an older gentleman who was trying to do his job and had to pull out a knife in self-defense and wounded Mark Sanchez, with the older man being injured as well. I'm sure that some of you guys have seen the pictures coming out of him in the hospital, which are pretty grisly to say the least. I don't know what's going to happen with this situation. I don't know if this is a cautionary tale of consuming copious amounts of alcohol or if Mark Sanchez was on some other substance, but it's a super scary story for sure.
No doubt about it. I guess lastly, AFC South, or, do we have the best division in the NFL right now? No, just kidding.
100%.
How shocked are you, Jags and Colts, and then, you think the Texans are eventually going to make a move. 3 teams make one? No way. What is more surprising? The Texans aren't in first place, or the Jags and Colts are 4-1?
It's definitely the Jags and Colts being 4-1. Like, you could have sold me that, hey, either Daniel Jones and the Colts are going to take off or the Jaguars are going to take off and start 4-1. Not both. I did not expect both of these teams to be looking like the top 2 squads in the AFC South. But the Indianapolis Colts, man, they're scoring on 65% of their drives this season. That's the highest rate through 5 games by any NFL team in the past 25 seasons. And they're the only team in the NFL to rank top 5 in scoring offense and scoring defense as well. So in an early season that's kind of been headlined and dominated by parity, the Colts have been one of the more consistent teams in the NFL. Now, as for the Jaguars, very quickly, I almost find them to be one of the more intriguing teams to watch moving forward because the offense clearly hasn't been on the same page. They're 4-1 for the first time since 2007. This defense is leading the league in takeaways and turnover margin, by the way. Devin Lloyd looks like a front runner for the MVP if I had any say in it. So I'm excited to see how this AFC South shakes out. And I wish we had a Colts-Jaguars matchup coming up soon as opposed to later in the year.
Yeah, me too. What do you think about Hunter and what his impact has been on offense and defenses before we go to Ross?
So I really do think that the Jaguars are hurting the potential impact Travis Hunter can have on the game by trying to play him both ways. They're trying to limit his snaps, of course. I think they need to pick one or the other. And I told you guys throughout the draft process that I believed he was way more impressive as a wide receiver, not to take anything away from his play as a defensive back. But here's the thing. The Jaguars make an interesting trade, giving up Tyson Campbell for Greg Newsome. It's kind of hard to implement a brand new CB1 in the middle of the season. So does that mean Travis Hunter is going to see an uptick in snaps on the defensive side of the ball? But all that to say, I really do think that they should start considering putting him full-time on one side or another.
There you have it, Jordan Dejani.
Yeah, Jordan, this is a little bit of a personal question because I picked Justin Herbert to win MVP this season on our show, but the Chargers obviously started out hot and then have dropped their last 2 to the Giants and Commanders. Are you worried about the Chargers at all? Do you think they can get things going again, or is this all just, the injuries up front that they've had?
So 100%. In fact, this past week that was dominated by upsets and all these come-from-behind victories. I think one of the most surprising outcomes was the Chargers getting whipped by the Washington Commanders. It was Jaden Daniels' first game back. Many people would say that Washington's forte is not rushing the quarterback, but that defensive line absolutely dominated this game. That's not something I saw coming. So when I watched the game back, I saw Justin Herbert basically fighting for his life every single drop back. And that really hurt that offense. And when the offense couldn't find a rhythm, that obviously hurts the defense. The Chargers defense did not perform up to standard because of the struggles of the offense, and that allowed Bill Krosky-Merritt to run wild. I think he had 111 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns as well. So Washington is certainly a sleeper team to watch after kind of a sleepy start. Of course, they made the NFC Championship game last year. But as for the Chargers, this has been a pretty quick, dramatic fall from grace. So yeah, I am worried about this team moving forward, but it's mostly because of the injuries they suffered on the offensive line and running back as well.
Jordan, announcement, Yahoo Sports tweeted out yesterday, an announcement is expected soon from the NFL detailing plans to move the Pro Bowl games to Super Bowl host cities as part of the Super Bowl week festivities. Are you for or against that idea?
That's a good question. Even though I cover the NFL, I've just really struggled to have any interest in the Pro Bowl games. And I hated what they did with the recent change with it all being very gimmicky. I don't think it's very entertaining. But them moving it to the Super Bowl site, I think could potentially drum up some interest. I still think there's a lot of work to be done to draw attention to this All-Star game format. But I'm okay with them moving it to the Super Bowl site.
Just real quick, has any backup quarterback ever gotten the PR chances or the questions or the pressers and media attention that Shedeur Sanders has gotten?
No chance at all. Shedeur Sanders, man. But here's the thing. This actually surprised me, Zach. They named him as the backup quarterback to Dillon Gabriel. I actually thought it was going to be Bailey Zappi because NFL Network reported this past week that when Shedeur Sanders plays this year, and by the way, he's going to play at some point this year, it's going to be with a full week of practice with a game plan that is completely tailored to him. The Browns are going to look different with Shedeur Sanders under center compared to Dillon Gabriel. So it surprised me a little bit that they didn't bring up Bailey Zappi to be the backup quarterback. But Shedeur Sanders said it himself. He sees the light at the end of the tunnel. He's moving up the depth chart. It's only a matter of time before Cleveland finally gives him a shot.
All right, so obviously the NFL's first coach fired odds are something to keep an eye on, right? I mean, you got Mike McDaniel, Zach Taylor, Brian Callahan. Where are you placing your money at?
Unfortunately, it's probably Brian Callahan. I think it's absolutely a crapshoot right now with Mike McDaniel. The Dolphins are struggling, but it's something I brought up with you guys probably multiple times now, is that the Miami front office had to understand where exactly their roster sat entering this season. And more than that, we know that the owner, Stephen Ross, really does like Mike McDaniel. He wants this fit to work. That's not to say that Mike McDaniel is guaranteed to coach in 2026, but as long as this team is fighting for him and he doesn't lose the locker room, I think he's going to find a way to keep his job. As for Brian Callahan, that was a momentous win against the Arizona Cardinals and a fantastic chance to stack wins against the lowly Las Vegas Raiders. If he fails to do that, and let's say hypothetically he gets blown out by Mike Vrabel and the Patriots, he's back in hot water for sure.
I guess, and lastly, before we let you go there, Jordan, I guess who or what teams will be buyers and sellers before the trade deadline?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Detroit Lions as a team potentially to buy in the secondary. Maybe someone like Tariq Woolen from the Seattle Seahawks. They could be a team that is interested in beefing up their defense because if you're asking me for my NFL power rankings right now, I think the Lions would probably be sitting at number one. As for sellers, we've seen it a little bit so far, but what about the Cleveland Browns? They're a team that does not have Super Bowl aspirations. So someone that I'm looking for that could be a potential intriguing target would actually be tight end David Njoku because they have this guy, Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green, I think it was, who's been fantastic and the coaching staff really likes as well. Another guy I want to bring up very quickly, if this trade with Joe Flacco does not go well with the Cincinnati Bengals quickly, I wonder if the Bengals will quickly turn and trade away Trey Hendrickson because I believe that this is going to be his final year with the Bengals. He's on a one-year contract. So do they want to make the decision to try to get some kind of draft capital in return for him and sell him to another contender?
As long as it's not to the Indianapolis Colts, I'm good with it.
Yes, 100% correct.
Oh my! I'm sick now.
All right, Jordan. That's Jordan DeJaney of CBS Sports. We go around the NFL with him every Friday. Jordan, enjoy a good weekend of football.
Hey, thanks so much, guys. Go Vols.
There you go. All right, coming up next, we'll continue talking about the Tennessee Titans versus the Las Vegas Raiders. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Blaine, when you look at this team, Tennessee Titans versus the Las Vegas Raiders, when we say consistency is the key for a Titans victory, what does that say to you about this team? Like, what does consistency look like in your mind that you want to see out of this Tennessee Titans team?
Well, that tells a lot of information there, man.
Well, should we start with maybe the quarterback, and let's start there?
Well, I was going to start with the quarterback, and I don't know if you really can expect a rookie quarterback, even though he's the number one pick, to be consistent. But you want to start seeing some consistency in his play, and that goes for all the guys, not just the rookie players, too. So there's no more to me at this point in time, even at quarterback, acting as though these coaches and players all are in their first year. They now have 3 games under their belt. They see what the NFL is. They're going to have to – it should drive them to be better as far as players. I just think we'll see if this springboards them into being a more consistent player. I would probably bet the odds that won't happen. We'll go back to the normalcy of what they are. We'll see how much they implement the no huddle or muddle huddle or maybe hurry up offense at times, as which I asked for in the beginning of the season, just to see Cam get into a rhythm. And that's typically how you want to use it. You don't want to do that every down. And you could really hurt your team in that manner, especially with a rookie quarterback. So I want to see all the players play consistent. And that doesn't mean you're always going to win, but you want to know what you have. I think that's really probably the hardest part and the most frustrating part probably in coaching at this time with the Titans, with a young team, is you go over things and thought, they have it.
Right.
And then you watch a game and go, well, he really didn't, So those are, things you just try to correct, and you want to make it as simple as possible and try to speak their language. And I'm talking about individuals. You can, talk in a group setting, but make sure you're having one-on-ones, kind of just little conversations and walk through and everything else to make sure they get it in the way that they take in information. I think that's what makes coaches really good. And we'll see where we go from here. But this is a winnable game as far as talent. We could talk about the records. Only thing that's different is they probably have a much more experienced coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see where we stack up. And they got a great shot of winning this one. So that'd be really cool. I don't think they've won a back-to-back game since, 3 years or so? Almost 3 years.
That Green Bay game.
Oh, my gosh, man. So that, just saying that alone, oh, man. I know it has nothing to do with probably a lot of guys on the team.
Right.
But, you know what's out there. So you want to make sure, hey, man, we have nowhere to go but up. So I want to see them kind of build on this game, the last game, and see if they can get some mojo.
Yeah, for me, obviously quarterback consistency can go a long way, but the quarterbacks leading the NFL with drops by their pass catchers. Trevor Lawrence has 14 drops. Cam Ward has 13. That's the second most in the NFL. Not only that, they have a stat where they take the sum of the air yards, so the total of air yards, and expected yards after catch. So they look at history and you caught the ball here and all this kind of stuff. And they kind of come up with expected points added or points lost on drops. And they calculate that the Tennessee Titans have lost a little bit over 16 points over the course of the season just based off drops. Now, that means you still have to go finish the drive, and they're not all touchdowns. Maybe
so what
you
you're
only
really
get
talking about is 4 points a game.
Pretty much. And that maybe that matters in the Denver game, but maybe not in the other games, right? And all that kind of stuff. But that's a lot. And consistency needs to come from the wide receivers, but it also needs to come from the coaching staff too, because they finally got out of their fog and started targeting or at least calling plays. Now, some of it, the quarterback has to make sure they target the right guy too, or throw the ball to Calvin Ridley, and Calvin Ridley has to get open. But we have seen this team and offense at least have a modicum of success moving the ball down the field when they target Calvin Ridley early and often. And before this game,
do they know that?
Well, you would think they would know that. They live the same thing.
I don't know. Maybe they said we're targeting him. Remember, did he drop the ball a lot that first game?
Well, I know this. I don't know the drops.
He made some drop, but I don't know if it was like.
But I think they were later in the game because we know this. We've seen enough of Calvin Ridley to know the earlier you get him involved in the game, the more the drops seem to be mitigated. They happen, but he makes up for them as the game goes on. Remember, he only had 4 targets in the first quarter out of all 4 games heading into Sunday's game with the Cardinals.
Did you think he deserved more than that?
More than 4 targets in the first quarter? Yes, absolutely. I mean, he's your number 1 wide receiver. You got to find ways to get him the ball, and you got to do it early and often.
But he's the number 1 guy dropping balls.
Well, he wasn't dropping the balls in the Denver game, and they only gave him 1 target in the first quarter.
He wasn't running the right play.
Well, maybe not. I mean,
like, this is why I do not coach. How do you not know? And you're a grown man. What play to run? This run for you.
Well,
what? The hair on your neck should be like, oh my God, I can't wait to get this ball.
But that was like second or third quarter. You get what I'm saying? Like, still you should know.
Hey,
I mean, I'm with you.
Hey, that's why I'm not going to. They be like, Blaine, why is your $90 million wide receiver standing right here? I say, because he doesn't know how to run the plays.
Right.
I gotta trust.
Yeah.
Trust is big in sports when you're coaching the athlete and vice versa, the athlete to the coach.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to make mistakes, but not like ones that you control. Like, what? You didn't run the right play? You dropped the ball dead in your hands and we paying you $90 million? Well, the contract.
Right. Yeah.
So it just, some of those, that's not on a regular basis. I mean, everybody's going to drop the ball here or there, but I mean, come on, man. So I don't know if I would have been drawing up plays for Calvin Ridley myself either. Guess what I want to happen? I'm going to run my offense, and if it says it leads to a throw to Calvin Ridley, so be it. But I'm like, hey, man, we getting you involved and you dropping balls, man. We cause us first down.
But they aren't getting him involved. That's the issue I have.
No, they did. That's why I went back to the first game.
Yeah.
The first game.
4 targets in the first quarter combined in all 4 games.
Well,
the first 4 games.
Sometimes it's like that.
I know, but we complained about it last year that they weren't getting Calvin Ridley involved, and I don't see any reason not to do it this year.
So how would you handle it if they weren't? You get signed your $90 million. How would you handle it if you're Ridley?
What do you mean?
If you're not getting no targets?
Oh, well, I'd be saying something.
That's what I'm saying. How would you handle it?
Yeah. I mean, if I was the coach, I would be getting him the ball.
The check is still the same. It cha-chings every time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's Calvin Ridley's fault that he's not getting the ball.
Okay, so then,
I'm saying
you would say
the
something.
Staff.
Okay, you would say something to the staff.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, give me the ball, give me early and often. We went through this last year. What are we doing?
Do that again. I'm the coach, and you're Ridley. Go.
Okay. Hey, last year, we figured out a way to get the offense moving was to get me the ball early and often. Because, we're sitting in our coaches' meeting, right? We know Ridley's in that coaches' meeting.
One-on-one. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a group effort because he's in Jeff Simmons, all them are there. But still, hey, I need the ball a little bit more often, targeted my way. Get me into a rhythm, get me going, and we'll get this offense rolling.
So if the progression reads don't come your way, you're gonna be upset that you don't get the ball?
Well, I'm wondering why the progression reads aren't coming my way. I guess I would say.
Well, I would say because you've been dropping the ball.
Well, who are you going to go to? I mean, Elikai Manor is.
All you need to do is concern about you.
Yeah. Well, I'll catch the ball if you throw it to me.
No, okay. Well, make sure we keep on working on that. Then we'll make sure we get you the ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
see how that work?
I mean, I see how it works. But my thing is that you have nothing else to go to.
Oh, absolutely you do.
Nobody good.
Oh, yeah, you do. You can get to the tight ends. You can get DK more involved since he's overall,
Well, he's been absolutely terrible.
Well, I'm talking about, I would make it sure I got it. Here's what I said in the beginning.
Yeah.
That I would make sure my offense is built around all players are involved. And then when I need to make a big-time throw, maybe I just don't believe that Ridley's that guy. Maybe he's a good player, but he shouldn't be a number one. I've always said he wasn't.
Right, but I mean, he's your number one.
Right, he is your number one. But if your number one's not performing and he's costing you games, I have to start mitigating and start looking other places. Then I come back to him at some point to build up the guy. I got to make sure, first of all, he got everything in his head going on right.
Yeah.
Right now. He's not getting, oh, man, I'm not getting the ball, or, oh, I'm dropped. I got to make sure he's right where he needs to be. Obviously, something was going on. I don't know his personal life, But hey, so then we'll get you the ball, and then when you start showing some rhythm, and we'll feed you. Then we'll hot potato. We're gonna get it to
So
you.
do we think that he did enough in Arizona to maybe get the ball more? Because, I mean, they did it. I mean, they gave him 10 targets, which is the most by far that he's had all year. Do you think that he did enough in that game to warrant what you're saying? Do you think he built up some trust or some equity?
I would say periodically to get more than four passes.
Yeah. At least in the first quarter, you know what I'm
So
saying? He got 10 the whole
and I would
game.
say we're scripting plays and we're trying to get everybody involved, but we'll make sure we'll make a conscious effort to try to get you the ball a little bit more in the beginning of the game. Here's what that sounds like to me if I'm sitting on the other side. Oh, if you give me the ball in the beginning of the game, then I'm more engaged in the game. You should be engaged in the game because you got a $90 million freaking contract.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so let's put him in his TO. That's a different, but he ain't that personality,
Yeah.
right? Guess what? See, there's good and bad because he would come in there and cause a ruckus.
Right.
Right. Yeah. No, y'all better get me the freaking ball. And I mean now. And I mean right. And guess what I would say? Absolutely. We're going to get you the ball. That should have never happened. Yep. Because he's a personality.
Yeah.
And he know what he is. Kevin Ridley's still trying to figure out if he is that dude. See, that's a big difference.
Gotcha.
And so you see, yeah. So now, I'd had that attitude with a TO type player.
Yeah.
You know, all these big name, great players at receiver. But the guy who's kind of up and downward, this is not the first time. It's not the first time with the Titans. He did it last year or 2 years ago with the Jaguars. And I'm sure he did somewhat with the Falcons if you go back and look.
Yeah.
So that he's an inconsistent player. You just got to know what you get.
Yeah.
And guess what? He'll come back around. It's going to go through the flow of the offense.
There you go. Coming up next, Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider is going to join us. We're going to talk about Arkansas versus Tennessee.
Oh,
This is
no.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone.
Call the Hogs. Let's talk insurance. King and Associates Insurance. They're independent agent, and that's a big difference. But it goes beyond just having multiple companies to shop, weeding out the non-competitive companies, keeping great relationships with the biggest and best, along with bundling. But unfortunately, life happens, and they get it. So here's a true story about my friend and co-worker that switched from a previous independent agent and got better coverage on his home and its contents and even his automobiles with flawless communication and a true champion in his corner after his 16-year-old daughter's accident, and he saved them thousands of dollars and thousands from an independent agent who was overcharging him for years. So you can make the switch and save the same, if not more, but don't do it because I did it or because I said so. Switch to King and Associates because you should. And guess what? You also will have an extra moolah in your pocket, too. And if you want the extra money, guess what? Just give them a call at 615-321-8121. That's 321-8121. Or you can check them out online at tkinginsurance.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. And let's talk about the Razorbacks versus Volunteers as we bring on Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider. And Ryan, coming off a bye week, what are the vibes like in Knoxville for this game? And how is the team kind of feeling about how the season has gone so far?
Yeah, I think there's a feel that everything has gone about as expected to this point when you just look at the win and loss total. But I think there's some positivity around how the team has played as a whole, how the offense has performed probably better than expected, and some hope that as Tennessee gets healthier on defense, they might be able to perform a little bit closer to what the expectation was there. So I think Tennessee, got banged up in that Mississippi State game on top of some guys that have been out from earlier this year. So just having a week off to get a little more healthy and prepare for in October. It's not quite a gauntlet in the SEC play, but two SEC road games and another home one this weekend. I think certainly there's some positivity and a feeling that the bye came at the right time, I guess.
So obviously Arkansas has made a head coaching change. They've made a couple of changes on their defensive coaching staff. What kind of challenges does that prevent for Josh Heupel and this Tennessee team?
Yeah, I think that's the unknown probably more than anything. How much do you read into that? How much has Josh Heupel gone back and studied old stuff from the coaches on the staff? And I think it's a funny dichotomy too, where Travis Williams, the old defense coordinator, he clearly had a great game plan against Tennessee's offense last year with some of that 3-safety look and 3-down linemen, and really gave Tennessee issues. So I think it's a mix of, an interesting spot for Heupel and Tennessee's offensive staff of looking at it and saying, how much are they going to attack us the way they did last year with a different defense coordinator that worked, or how much are they going to try to put kind of a new blueprint, a new stamp on things with a new look staff. So certainly a lot of unknown there, which I think just presents challenges anytime there's a lack of certainty. But I also don't think it's, super realistic to expect Arkansas's defense to just look, 180 different this Saturday.
Arkansas's defense in a world of college football where people are putting the emphasis on maybe speed and athleticism, which maybe requires, smaller defenders in some cases. They've kind of gone big on all three levels of their defense. What kind of challenges does that present Tennessee, or is that really kind of playing into Tennessee's hands with all their speed and their explosive ability?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think you look at some of the stuff in the open field and skill positions, and it's hard not to feel good about what Tennessee can do in this game with some of their physicality, or against a team that's more physical and a little bit less athletic. And then on the trenches, I think that Tennessee has struggled to run the ball in 2 SEC games this year, and Arkansas's run defense certainly hasn't been great, but Tennessee is going to have to bring a level of physicality. We'll see if David Sanders starts in this one. Josh Heupel didn't say whether he would earlier this week. I tend to think he will. So that level of physicality could be a challenge for a freshman Sanders, who, not that he's tiny or anything, but a little, as you'd expect, a little bit smaller as a freshman. So I think you kind of look at those things. But overall, to me, it's can Arkansas get to a level of just competency on defense that they really haven't had to this point.
We're talking Arkansas versus Tennessee football here on 105 The Zone with Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider.
Well, Ryan, based off what you just said there, I guess David Sanders probably starting. Would that then be the starting unit they wanted to start with at the beginning of the season? I'm not sure with all the moving pieces. Kind of take us down that road, explain if he does start, would that be, you think, the initial group?
Yeah, so I think what will happen if Sanders starts is they'll slide over Jesse Perry, who's been playing right tackle. He'll play right guard. Wendell Moy, who has played right guard, will move over to left guard. And then Sam Umarov will get bumped from the starting lineup. So that's what the plan was going into the season before Sanders suffered that injury Syracuse game. And I think that's makes it a little bit of an interesting situation too, because I think there's a thought there from some people of, well, the offensive line's played well. There's no need to mix things up too much. You can just kind of work David Sanders into the game. My thing is that's not a very realistic proposition, because I don't think in the middle of the game, it's not like you're just going to put David Sanders in for the right tackle and bring him out. I don't think in the middle of the game you're going to want to reshuffle your offensive line like that would have to be, which is the reality if Sanders comes in and everybody's healthy. So I think David Sanders is making too much money to not be playing a lot of football for this year, and clearly there's a lot of confidence in him, and this is as good a time as any. You're coming off an open date. You're getting an Arkansas team at home. Your next 2 games are on the road. If you're going to make a move, this is the time to make the move.
Ain't that weird? You said he's making too much money to sit on side. I was about to make a joke about it and say, hey, so David Hobbs, is he making too much money, or is he going to be back at D tackle? That's crazy. You go back to some of these NFL concepts in college now of what positions are you going to value and pay guys, and when guys are making a lot of money and everything else is kind of equal, you know what the tiebreaker is in a lot of these scenarios. Yeah, no doubt about it. I wanted to see how much do you think Hobbs' return at D tackle, I think is who it is, his impact will be just, to the defense in general, or just helping the rotation, having fresher bodies.
Yeah, I think that's, at the very least, it'll be that, is to have some more depth at defensive tackle, to be able to slide Dominique Bailey back out the defensive end some, and just have some, like you said, flexibility. There's some young guys in that room that they like. I think you feel better when those guys are playing 8 to 12 snaps a game as opposed to 20 snaps a game, and Hobbs getting back does that. So I think there's that at the very least. And then to me, I mean, there weren't too many players on Tennessee's roster that had more buzz this offseason and this fall camp before he got hurt than David Hobbs. He was a popular guy as kind of a breakout candidate. So what does that look like now that he's been sidelined for 6 weeks with an injury and is just kind of getting back into the fold? Can he still have that kind of breakout season that Tennessee thought he might before the year? Because if he does that, I think his impact could kind of change the outlook of this defensive line as a whole.
A couple more questions here real quick. This is kind of a fun question. Who's playing the best? Arian Carter, Brazo at wide receiver, or Joey Aguilar at quarterback?
Yeah, it's been a fun kind of bye-week conversation with some of these of who've been Tennessee's best players. I think of that group, I'd go Brazo. I mean, Joey's certainly played really well too, but you look at the plays Brazel has made, it's not like there's been a lot of busted coverage and a lot of him just getting schemed wide open. It's him making a lot of contested catches in big-time plays and tough catches in tough spots. So all 3 of those guys have been really good. Arian Carter's been a rock for him in the middle of defense. Certainly Joey Aguilar, I think, has been better than anybody's expected, and is a huge reason. He's probably the most important player just because of the nature of the position and what's behind him. But I think Brazel has probably been the very best of that group so far.
And lastly, Joey Aguilar, should he be on the Heisman watch list? And where is he as a draft prospect, do you think?
Yeah, I think the Heisman one, it's my initial reaction is kind of to say no, but then you just kind of look around and there's just not a whole lot of obvious candidates. There's not a whole lot of guys that you feel like are playing at a Heisman level right now. So, yeah, I think he should probably be on the list. I don't know if he's at the very top of it by any means, but I'll tell you what, he's gonna have an opportunity next week in Tuscaloosa. Getting a little ahead of ourselves, he goes out and plays really well in that game, and Tennessee wins. I think he'll start seeing himself on that list a little bit higher. Is it pertains to his draft prospects? Yeah, I think he could potentially work himself into a late round draft pick, but I don't know if the measurables and some of the arm strength, some of those natural things that are so important that NFL teams look at, I think that kind of caps the ceiling a little bit as far as how high he could be drafted.
What's the status of Jermod McCoy? I mean, is he going to be ready for the Alabama game, or is this going to, because this feels like it's taking a little bit longer than what everybody anticipated a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a little bit of wait and see. Like he's been practicing, but he hasn't done team stuff yet. So that feels like it's the next, thing on the list to get checked off. It feels like you need to hear that he's been doing some of that to feel like, all right, he could be back on the field here before too long. So to me, it's a little bit of a, somewhere between wait and see it to believe it, I guess, with him getting back on the field. It kind of hard for me to think he's going to play here in eight days if he hasn't practiced yet, but who knows? Maybe he'll be in the spot next week where he can go out and do team activities and get back on the field. I think the question's always been with him, at what point does he just sit out for the season if he's not back by that point? And I think he, from everything I've heard, wants to get back, really badly, and is a very selfless star, a very team-first guy. But I think you do wonder about that. His agents and people in his ear are probably going to be encouraging him to do that at some point. So that's what I continue to watch, especially if Tennessee loses that Alabama game in their playoff outlooks. It certainly wouldn't be dead at that point, but it would look a little bit more grim. Does that affect, how much he's pushing to get back? But everything I've heard, he very much wants to get back and play this season, and is doing, everything he can, even if that is later than expected and later than, maybe the conventional wisdom would be.
There's been tons of players injured on defense. You have players that you expected to be big-time contributors also have injuries. You have Joey Aguilar, who joined Tennessee pretty late in the process in spring, and they're playing 48 freshmen and 27 true freshmen this season. Is this kind of Josh Heupel's best, a sneaky under-the-radar best coaching year?
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made there, and obviously time will tell as a whole. But I think he's getting a lot out of this team, and I think if you would have told anybody that the defense would look the way it has, and to your point, I think the injuries have been a big part of that. I don't think anybody would have thought that they would have looked as good as they have to this point. The record, maybe people would have said, still would have been 4-1 at this point, but last year, I will continue to say, I think was a really impressive job by him, because I just think he got everything out of that team. Like, that team was not very good on offense. They really, it felt like for a lot of the season, they were certainly a good team, but it did not feel like a 10-2 college football playoff type team. So that's the one I would say, just again, from the standpoint, I feel like he got everything out of that team. To this point, I think he's done a great job with this team, and they've been better in areas that I didn't expect them to be. And considering he's an offensive head coach and a quarterback type coach, and those being the areas, you certainly point to that and say he's done a really good job. But he's got to find a way to get a couple of these big wins too, and have them in that playoff consideration late in the year. I think for it to stack up to what happened last year.
All right, before we let you go, final prediction on Arkansas at Tennessee.
Yeah, I had it over on the site today, 38-28 Tennessee. I think Tennessee wins this game. I feel pretty confident about that. The big question I have, and I'll try not to ramble too much here, but I watched Florida play earlier in the year, and I'm like, this, obviously everybody's ripping them. I'm like, this is one of the worst offenses I've ever watched, but their defense is so good. If they can just get competent offensive play, I think they can be a tough out. I almost feel the opposite with Arkansas. I think this is a really good offense. The defense has just been so bad. Does a bye week does some changes? Can they just become competent on defense? Because if they're just competent, they don't have to be good on defense, that they can give most teams in the SEC, including Tennessee, a tough game. So that's kind of the big lingering thought that's been in my head this week. I do think Tennessee wins, but I'm not sure that it's going to be the runaway that maybe a lot of people expect.
Well, that's Ryan Shumpert. You can catch all of his information over on Rocky Top Insider. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. Enjoyed it as always.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to finish up our preview of Tennessee Titans versus Las Vegas Raiders. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
There's a lot of things Americans split 50-50 on. Politics, working from home, I don't know about that, versus the office, coffee versus tea. But there's one thing we all agree on. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop, yes. And taking care of your car in repair shops that can become really complex. And your repair only is as good as the person under the hood. And most of the problems in fixing your vehicle is a knowledge issue, not someone trying to rip you off. A lot of techs are not properly trained, so they end up guessing what to do, and that causes delays in getting your vehicle back or repeat visits for the same freaking issue. For around a quarter century, Eurofix has done things differently. Every visit starts with a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection, so you know what's going on before we start the work. And Eurofix pays its technicians more than any other company does to attract the best and the brightest talent. And Eurofix still fixes European vehicles at below dealer pricing with a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all work Eurofix performs. And rental cars are also available. Locally owned, family run with 5 locations. And all you have to do is just book online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, and live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. And Blaine, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I watched the Las Vegas Raiders play football the last 3 weeks, well, a couple of different game films and all that kind of stuff. The Tennessee Titans should win this game. Listen, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy or a blowout or anything like that. And because it's not on a neutral site, it's not a home game for the Tennessee Titans. They have to travel. But if you're talking about looking at the rosters and looking at the play on the field, the Tennessee Titans are a better team. And I have to say that this Raiders team is definitely not living up to the expectations and pedigree of certain players, of the coaching staff. And that could be very dangerous for the Tennessee Titans. But at the end of the day, the play on the field and what we've seen from this Tennessee Titans team, which hasn't been pretty, it's probably been worse by the Las Vegas over there by the Las Vegas Raiders. Because the first game that I watched of the Raiders was obviously their Week 1 win over the Patriots, where they went toe-to-toe with the Patriots. And then I didn't really watch the Raiders after that. And so I go back to the film, and that's like, how was that team the team? That was the Week 1 liar, was the Raiders. Because that does not look like the same team right now. Obviously, no Brock Bowers could play a lot into that.
Yes, that's
but woof, this is not a good team.
Yeah, maybe, and Pratt not been out there too. No, just kidding. But yeah, Bowers not been out there. But as far as just, just talent, just the entire roster, I think you're right. Titans should be able to be very competitive and should have the nudge and win. Now, you got to say going across country, playing on the road, so that kind of evens the playing field there. So it is going to be a real interesting game. I just don't want Geno Smith all of a sudden to get hot.
Yeah.
And when I say that is because most of the times when he's had bad throws and thrown interceptions leading the league, he had pressure. So I just don't know how much pressure we can create with the front four. They're going to have to blitz more or not. I think it's kind of a playing the game and see how it goes and see where we're at. But if he gets hot, I think then that's a different story because now you have an experienced quarterback who's had a lot of success in this league. So right now in this new offense with Chip Kelly running it, calling the plays for the Raiders, I just don't – he doesn't look comfortable out there. And so I'm hoping that just continues. If not, I don't want it to be the get-right game.
Because this really could be a Chip Kelly issue, right? I mean, we've kind of talked about Cam Ward not really fitting this style of offense. It doesn't really seem like Geno Smith, like you said, seems comfortable within this offense, which is because I'm
not
sure.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, at least not yet. New system, but also it's kind of vastly different than what he was used to in Seattle, which is also why I kind of thought the Chip Kelly hire was a little peculiar because it didn't really make sense to what they were doing with Geno Smith when he was having success. And he looked like a top 15 quarterback over in Seattle. Now he comes over here, new system that doesn't really fit him. And maybe they get there, but we kind of seen Chip Kelly's in the NFL, his offense, the quarterback, once they kind of start out bad, never really get into a groove. And maybe Geno will be different. Because
or maybe Chip Kelly in his second go-round maybe different.
Maybe different. I don't know, but this kind of looks like a weird offense. It doesn't really seem to be able to it doesn't feel like it wants to rely on Ashton Jeanty, and it should rely on Ashton Jeanty, especially with Brock Bowers out. And then you kind of look over and you're like, okay, you got Trey Tucker. But, like, what is Trey Tucker in the NFL by NFL standards and stuff? And Deontay Thornton.
He's a gadget guy that's fast.
That's about it. But they're having to use him and rely on him. And Deontay Thornton, the offensive line hasn't looked that good. And they got some good guys on the offensive line, like Donald Parham is one of those guys.
It's probably the most disappointing unit for them is the offensive line.
I think so. I think the trenches on both sides of the ball. Because if you just take out Max Crosby, who do you got?
Yeah,
like I mean, they are really struggling.
I take them.
Yeah, I would take Max Crosby. But like if you
now
you double team him, who's beating you? You know what I'm saying? And I kind of look at Patrick Graham, who was a holdover, who's currently the defensive coordinator, who Pete Carroll kept from. He's been there since 2022.
Really?
As the Raiders defensive coordinator, and they kept him. And I'm kind of like, well, maybe that wasn't the right move either. Like.
Maybe he couldn't get the guys he wanted.
Right, maybe.
And so maybe the brass or, the ownership or Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody
You never
told him
know.
what to do. I have no idea, but that definitely doesn't seem like something Pete Carroll would do, not hire guys that are his guys.
Yeah, 16. Geno Smith's been sacked 16 times, as Ricky points out in the FNN Bank
And
chat.
he's thrown
Twitter,
like
YouTube.
9 interceptions or something.
He had
He's
9
leading the league.
interceptions,
Yeah,
so-
so we'll see. Jeff should be having a field day.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I don't like making assumptions because I know we should win this game, but
Right.
man, you just don't know in the NFL, and everybody's so even at this point and so desperate, even this early in the season, for a win. Man, it's just really hard to say that the Titans are just going to outright win this game, but boy, the Raiders don't look good right now.
Well, and it seems to
They
be
don't-
like whether
in
you're.
any facet, their special team
Yeah.
is horrible. Like, oh man, DK should have a field
Well,
day.
that's what I'm saying. So it seems like everything kind of lines up in your unit matchups in favor of the Tennessee Titans. Special teams, like you said, Raiders are one of the worst special teams units. Tennessee Titans are, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of can because of Bones Fossil, but they're one of the best. There's some opportunity there to get good field positioning. So that should be a win. When you look at what this Titans offense does or wants to do, it wants to be an 11 personnel kind of offense, right? They do a lot of it, I think, at 80% clip. Well, the Raiders are one of the worst defenses against 11 personnel. Now, you still need to be a good 11 personnel offense, and the Tennessee Titans have struggled being a good 11 personnel offense. And then you look at this Raiders defense. It's struggled with a lot of cover two in the passing game. Well, the Tennessee Titans kind of run a little bit of cover two, not a lot, but a little bit, but they kind of want to run that zone. They want to put pressure on passing downs. Now, you got to blitz, but at the same time, a 4-2-5 with cover one man coverage and blitzing puts the Raiders in a blender. I mean, I saw it all throughout these games, and if you can do that and get some pressure and a little bit of blitzing, because I think this is the team you can blitz against, because especially with Brock Bowers out. Like, it's not, they don't have anybody I'm really too concerned about beating our corners in one-on-one. And maybe that's me overlooking players.
What's that one? I didn't know he was making that amount of money. Number 16, the receiver.
Oh, is that Kendrick Bourne? I think he's
No.
no.
That's not the name I'm thinking of.
I have to look up the numbers.
man.
I know who you're talking about. It's
Yeah,
Jacoby
'cause-
Meyer.
Yes,
I always get Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Meyer.
Right, because he's with the 49ers,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah, and so, man, he's getting paid some decent money. A lot of people are talking about he's got value to trade
Yeah.
at this point in time.
Well, he
so-
wanted to be traded.
Right,
And then they were like, they didn't want to trade
He's
him.
a good player. I mean,
But I mean,
Thornton's solid for a young player.
Yeah, but you're talking Jacoby Meyer, Dante Thornton, Trey Tucker. They don't really get Jack Betch involved. You know, like the
The
TCU
tight
wide
end.
receiver.
18.
Yeah, he should be a tight end, but they're still playing him as a wide receiver.
Oh, well, right.
Yeah.
I said he should. Now, either he was
Yeah.
going to gain weight or lose weight, one of the two. He can't stay at the same weight he was in college.
But at this point, like, everything that you do as a team, special teams, 11 personnel, the way you play defense, the way you want to play, it all kind of just is hitting a perfect storm against this particular opponent. But I go back to something that Chris Phillips here said yesterday about a different game, but about what you said earlier today, and the caller that called in as well. He said, everybody's money's on Auburn, but I look at Hugh Freeze and I look at Kirby Smart, and I'm always betting money on Kirby Smart. And I'm looking at Brian Callahan. I'm looking at Pete Carroll. And I know that Pete Carroll just got his butt whipped on the road, 40-6, but he's coming back home. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, I feel like Pete Carroll's going to have this team motivated, ready to play. And I think the Tennessee Titans can win, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. But then I look at Brian Callahan and remember all the letdowns after we only had 3 victories last year. But if you recall, the Texans' emotional victory, and then you go get your butt whipped by the Commanders. Now, the Commanders are a better team than the Raiders, but we have seen this team have letdown losses after wins and not know how to handle victories. Did he learn something from last year to keep everybody, head on straight? And can Brian, because this is a silly stat that I'm about to say, because Brian Callahan did not coach all the teams, but Brian Callahan, even when he was at UCLA as a grad assistant, His teams have never beaten Pete Carroll. That's a silly stat. But Pete Carroll's a dang good head coach. And when you talk about not just a veteran team, because it's an older team, but you talk about this coaching staff, I think that could be the difference.
Do you know where Pete Carroll coached in the NFL?
Before
Not just before.
the USC and all
Yeah.
that? Yeah, like the Jets and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a horrible head coach.
Oh, yeah. He was back then.
So it just shows you can grow. What
Right.
I'm getting
Yeah,
at
it's
is,
true.
you know, he had to go back to college, and then he grew, and then came back to the league and was a totally different coach.
I
and
think
better
Brian
coach.
Callahan would be a very good college coach, by the way.
Well, absolutely will be. So maybe that'd be ticket and we get him on a second go round.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. But man, everything is aligning, which makes me even more nervous. What
Yeah.
you're talking about, that the Titans should win this game.
At least
They're
the
not
Raiders-
favored by Vegas,
No.
are they?
I was about
No.
to say, you at least have that going for
Bros
you.
look like, man, what
Yeah.
are you doing?
You at least have that going for
Know the
you.
answer to that one.
Raiders or the Las Vegas Vegas does not believe in the Tennessee. They believe in Vegas. So that maybe that can help you out here and make you feel a little bit better.
Vegas
about that.
is favored by how much?
Last I checked, by 4.5. Now it went down by 1 point
It's
because it
been
was
getting
5.5.
bought down this week, I
Oh,
believe,
has
by
it
the
been
public.
getting bought down?
Maybe with Bowers not playing too, that's probably a point taken off the
So
spread.
it's at 3, you said? I'm sorry, I missed
Well,
it.
it started at the week at like 5.5, I think, and now it's been brought down to 4.5. Is that?
Oh, is that
Yeah,
what
last I checked was 4.5. I'll pull it up right
that's
here.
still a lot.
Yeah,
man.
4.5. Well, if you remember, 3 points, 3.5
It's a home
points is a home
field.
field. So
Dang, but they, man, I thought it would be an even game, like, or something. Man. Golly.
I hope we get a good fan turnout again. I think it was actually pretty decent in Arizona.
Yep.
I mean, going to Vegas too, good weekend trip.
all right. You put up a name up here. Is this spelled correctly? How's it
Meehan.
pronounced? Meehan?
Meehan.
Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't like mine or something.
Los Angeles.
All right, Meehan in Los Angeles wants to talk about the 2-point conversion. Let's talk about it. Meehan, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
What's going on?
Good, good. Big fans of the show and football know the F word, so glad to be on.
All right.
So the way I've seen the 2-point conversion addressed is it's better to know what you need to do in the future than to have it come down to the wire and then lose in the end, right? So you go for 2 first because if you miss it, you know you're still down 9 and you know how aggressive you have to be on offense and defense and how aggressive you have to be with your timeouts, right? So that you can, and it's exactly what happened. We ended up going down 9 and we had to make a couple stops to come in and win the game with a field goal in the end. If you kick the field goal, you're down 8. And you know how Brian Callahan is. He's going to be super conservative. And at some point, for instance, if we're on our 40 and it's 4th down, he's probably going to punt it thinking, hey, we got plenty of time to come back and to get a stop on defense. And then the defense lets up a 90-yard, touchdown run to end the game, right? So it's always better to know what you need to do early so that you can establish how aggressive you need to be on both sides of the ball. Something else I wanted to address with you, Blaine, a huge fan, but I do disagree about, needing to earn the right to go for it on 4th down. I think you need to establish what kind of team you need to be, and I'm going to use Dan Campbell as an example. The Lions weren't great for the first 2 years of his tenure, but he established what kind of team they were going to be regardless. And you instill that confidence in your team, and you don't punish them for being aggressive, right? Because you know eventually the wins are going to come, and that's exactly what he did. And now you see them being one of the smarter 4th down success stories out there. So
Is he still playing that? Just great points, by the way. Is he still doing the same things he did when he was trying to instill? When you look back at
from what I remember, and maybe Zach, you can correct me, but from what I remember, he's been consistent in that he was going to be aggressive from the beginning,
right?
And that's translated as the team has improved,
right? And what is
But
our coach? And what is our coach? And what is our coach? Not aggressive. So he was never going to do it.
Exactly. No, 100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think Brian is coaching scared, and that with everything on the line, with nothing to lose, he's got his job on the line. He should be coaching to win these games, regardless. As long as he's not making boneheaded decisions, if they're by the book and by the analytics, go for it, dude. Why are we punting on our 40-yard line with the game on the line when we're down by 2 scores? Go for it.
Well, I
You have
definitely
nothing to
disagree
lose.
with that 34
Appreciate
yard
it, Meehan.
with Zach brought up there before. But there are here, we're not in their locker room. So when I say this, you got to know the temperature of your team. So to me, that is more important than us sitting here just critiquing and just throwing everything out and saying, okay, it should be this way. That is not the case with sports. That's not how it works. So to me, you must understand as a coach the temperature of the team, and you should be the one making those decisions if you should go forward on fourth down. And analytics is supposed to be something to help you make decision, not be the end-all, be-all. It should never be that. It's not that clear cut. See, It's just like a computer generated when they do, let's say, the top 10, and we all get pissed off. They say these teams are the top 10, or these are teams supposed to go to the Final Four in the playoffs, right? We all know that, oh, nope, this team is better than this team because the human element of not knowing the infrastructure of what the teams really are and what makes them what they are today. So I think it definitely should be used. But how much you lean into it depends on the temperature of your team.
And I will say, we were kind of talking about Calvin Ridley earlier and the mentality and all that kind of stuff and the temperament.
Yeah.
We know that this team has kind of picked right now those, I mean, for lack of a better term, nice guy kind of players. And that's not to say
I'm going to just say yes, sir, guys.
Yeah, yes, sir, guys. Let's do it.
Sir.
And so I think there is something to it. When you brought that up yesterday, which was probably, we had two really great discussions about Jonathan Gannon a couple days ago, but yesterday about that. So go to your podcast, wherever you get that, make sure you list it if you missed it. But when you brought up what he brought up, the players earning that right, and it really kind of like made me kind of shift my mind there.
So.
Because with Dan Campbell, and I did bring this up yesterday, Dan Campbell's team was older, more veterans. And so it's maybe easier to establish that than with maybe a younger team.
Right. That's knowing the temperature of your team.
Right.
No
Same
different
with
than
Mike
the Commanders.
Vrabel, right?
The Commanders, Vrabel, and when he was a young coach to when he had a veteran team.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Because Mike Mularkey had already been there. Mike Vrabel comes in and says, okay, here's what I got. This fits that. Doesn't mean that to let Brian Callahan completely off the hook for any of his decisions, but maybe there is something that he knows that we don't know behind the scenes about the temperament of the team. So I'm at least willing to open up the mind a little bit about that.
I don't think there's a wrong answer. I just think it's a feel thing, and you got to know your team really well and when it's time to push that button. I think Dan Campbell was in an interesting situation in that he had nothing to lose. They went 0-16 before he even got there, whatever the number was. They were not a winning organization for a long period of time. Then you have nothing to lose. I get it. I'm going to come here and I'm going to bring it. I'm going to do this. Boom. A lot of people were laughing at him. I wasn't. I was like, oh, man, this is awesome, man. I'm going to see if this will work. So I think two different scenarios you're going to say now, oh, the Titans don't have nothing to lose. Well, guess what? To the caller's point, I think Brian Callahan has something to lose.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think he does.
All right, coming up next, we're going to give you our picks for Tennessee versus Las Vegas, Tennessee versus Arkansas. And I'm going to give you the Lions Den best bets. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Parents, when your teen athlete gets injured, every practice missed matters. So don't let an injury sideline you for the season or your dreams. Introducing Edge Athletic Recovery Program, a 2-month, twice daily sublingual peptide protocol designed to help your athlete heal faster, recover stronger, and get back on the field safely. Our science-backed peptides BPC 157 and TB 500 support muscle, tendon, and ligament repair with no needles, no downtime, and no hassle. Safe for teens, non-GMO, gluten-free, and easy to take at home. Optional add-ons include M-Scope functional sessions and regenerative orthopedic treatments to accelerate recovery even more. So don't wait. Give your athlete the best shot of full return to the sport and call Edge Peptide Therapy at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878. Or visit them at edgepeptide.com to schedule an office consultation today. Edge Peptide Therapy knows every game, every practice and every dream matters.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number.
Give me my money.
Yeah, Shane McMahon, new theme song happening here.
Great job, Ross. Do not give him any credit. None. Zach gets no credit.
That's right. He definitely didn't text me earlier.
Here I am sitting at 55% on the
55.
Lions Den bets through 5 weeks.
How's the competition going, Ross? How you doing?
55%.
I ain't been betting. I'm not telling him.
Oh,
He ain't betting. Okay, but here we go. Let's talk about our college football and Tennessee Titans predictions, because I do want to say this. Ross's, with his Tennessee picks, we've picked 2 games for Tennessee since we started doing this. We've picked 4 games for the Titans. He's sitting at 4-2 in his game winner predictions.
That's what I was talking about. Okay.
Blaine and I are tied at 3-3, so we're sitting at 500. So we got to make a rebound.
Do not listen to me about betting.
Yeah. So Tennessee versus Las Vegas. I'm going with the Tennessee Titans to pull up the upset technically by Vegas standards, and I'm going to go with Tennessee Titans beat the Las Vegas Raiders. And I'm going to go 24-17.
The Titans are going to score 24 points?
They're going to score 24 points this week.
Oh, wow.
There you go. What do you think?
Oh, man. I am mystified here that I think I'm going for the Raiders in this one. 17-14 Raiders in a low-scoring one. What's the over-under? What's the
Let's see. Oh, I just closed
I just
out
don't have – man, I just don't know if they can score a point, even against this defense, man.
Okay.
I will
Ross?
go with the Tennessee Titans 17, the Las Vegas Raiders 13.
Ooh.
Keep my Titans prediction going strong, too.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm also playing the odds of them winning back-to-back. It's just something about it.
All right, Tennessee versus Arkansas. Is anybody going to take the Arkansas Razorbacks?
No, I will not be
Okay, so we're
calling
going all Tennessee here. Okay, so that's me. I mean, I'm going with the score, though, of 43-20 Tennessee. Can you even get to 43? I don't know. Just popped in my head.
I'm going for a
43-20.
blowout. I am. I think it's going to be, and when I say blowout, that means 20 points probably.
Okay, so
At least
20 plus points. Well, I can put that in your.
I'm going to say Vols 31, Hogs 20. I think the Petrino coach bump will last for a little bit early in the game.
What'd you say your score was?
31-20 Tennessee.
31-20.
But I would not want, they got to start off fast, though. I would not want a Petrino team to, like,
Stick around.
Yeah, like at halftime, it's like, we only up by 3. What?
Yeah. You got to put them in the
not
dirt
against
early.
that defense that they have? Arkansas?
All right, y'all ready for the Lions Den best bets?
Here we go.
Let's do it.
We don't
On
have
the
any
clock,
music
too.
for Lions Den's best bet?
We just brought it in.
No,
with the
that's
money.
supposed to start with Lions Den's best bets.
You want to, you can play the Eyes of the Panther.
Yeah,
again.
do
Let's get into it. We got we're up against
it
it.
depends. We got
All right.
2 seconds.
Washington is gonna cover 10.5. Let me pull up. I forgot who they're playing. Rutgers. So Rutgers 10.5.
You're picking games we don't care about.
Yeah. Tonight, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Oh, okay. It's tonight.
And then we got Georgia Tech. Virginia Tech is traveling to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's going to cover 14.5 point spread.
Oh.
They're going to at least win by 15 or more.
Right.
Indiana at Oregon, I'm going to take the over of 53.5. We're going to go over in that game.
Okay.
We're going to go high-scoring game. Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza. That's going to be a fun quarterback game right there. I'm going to get Notre Dame to cover the spread. They're going to at least win by 23 points against NC State. They're not very good at NC State.
Oh. 20.
And then I'm going to take Wake Forest at Oregon State. I'm going to take Wake Forest at -2.5. So I'm going to have them winning on the road by at least 3 points. This is not my favorite week of betting so far.
Oh, so you stayed away from all the SEC games.
Well, not necessarily, because I always do the little fun parlay, right? I'll always like a little
I
fun
was
parlay.
going to say, because you don't run,
Yeah.
you're not a fear guy. You run to
No, but
craziness.
He does the fun parlay because it doesn't count
It
against
doesn't
his
count
record.
against the record, but it's just a bonus bet. Because if you win one of these other bets, maybe
Don't
you'll
be
get.
trying to explain it.
Yeah. So here's what I'm doing. It's an all orange parlay.
Oh.
Tennessee's going to cover the spread of 10.5. They'll at least win by 11 points or more.
They only favor by 10.5. I
Yep.
said 20.
Clemson is going to at least win by 15 points or more at Boston College. They're on the road to Boston College. Bowling Green is at least going to cover the spread at 10.5 against Toledo, but they're at home. Oklahoma State is going to cover the spread at home, 14.5. They're underdogs. And then Texas is going to cover the spread. They're also at home at underdogs at +1.5.
So you thought this was Halloween weekend, or did you?
I'm
get
just
confused
going
with the
all orange. I have to find a way to kind of tie all these things together. So it's the all orange parlay.
So
You should have just tied Banana's hoodie there.
There you go.
Since it's orange.
So Texas is beating Oklahoma?
I got Texas beat. All right, Texas at least is if they're going to at least
That's a burnt
lose,
orange.
they're only going to lose by 1 point.
What color orange is that?
Burnt, yeah.
Yeah, burnt orange.
Burnt orange.
All right, that will do it for us. 3HL's up next. Y'all have a good weekend. This has been Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. And in the meantime,
And in between time.
Peace.
Peace.